Ethan's life had always been a carefully constructed edifice of ambition and independence. From the moment he could understand the concept of a balance sheet, he'd been driven by an insatiable desire to earn his own way. While his family reveled in their esteemed lineage of military heroes, Ethan found his purpose in the hum of servers and the elegant lines of code. Robotics, cybersecurity, software development, these were his battlegrounds, where he conquered challenges with intellect, not weaponry. "They just don't get it," he'd often mutter to himself, staring at the framed commendations adorning his father's study. "There's more to life than marching in lockstep, more to legacy than a uniform." His meticulously planned future, a sprawling empire built on his own ingenuity, was brutally interrupted when a xenocidal insectoid species descended upon Earth. Suddenly, the only currency that mattered was survival, and every able-bodied individual was conscripted. Ethan, with his unparalleled brilliance in all things digital, was immediately thrust into the military's most critical division, cyber warfare. "I hated every second of it," he'd confided in his personal log, his fingers flying across a holographic interface, patching vulnerabilities in the orbital defense grid. The rigid hierarchy, the endless regulations, the constant threat of total annihilation, it was everything I'd fought against. But I also knew my skills were vital. My code saved lives. My robots held the line. It was a cruel irony, fighting for a world I desperately wanted to leave, using the very talents I'd honed to escape it. He developed advanced AI for drone swarms, designed impenetrable firewalls that repelled Xylo cyber attacks, and even coded self-learning algorithms for the soldiers' power armor, turning them into adaptive fighting machines. He was lauded, decorated, and praised as a national hero. But with every medal pinned to his chest, the yearning for true freedom burned brighter. When the war finally ended, the Xylos pushed back into the void they'd emerged from, leaving behind a scarred but victorious Earth. The parades, the celebrations, the relief, it all felt distant to Ethan. His mind was already light years away. "This is my chance," he declared, not to anyone in particular, but to the vast, silent galaxy he saw in his dreams. No more expectations, no more preordained paths. True to his independent spirit, he didn't ask for handouts or seek a government-sponsored retirement package. Instead, he systematically liquidated everything he owned. His luxurious apartment, the state-of-the-art lab he'd built, even his collection of rare vintage circuit boards, all converted into credits. He moved with a quiet, determined efficiency, each transaction a step closer to his ultimate goal. "Some people call me crazy," he mused, watching the last of his belongings being packed into crates. Walking away from a hero's welcome, from a guaranteed life of comfort. But comfort isn't freedom. Not for me. With the accumulated funds, he acquired a small, sleek FTL, faster-than-light craft. It wasn't a military vessel, nor was it a luxurious yacht. It was practical, robust, and most importantly, it was his. He personally oversaw the loading of his few crates, essential tools, some advanced tech he'd salvaged and modified, and a handful of sentimental items that represented his past, but not his future. Then, with a final, lingering look at the pale blue dust shrinking behind him, Ethan engaged the FTL drive. The stars stretched into streaks of light, and the familiar constellations blurred into an incandescent tunnel. He was gone, a solitary figure in the vast cosmic ocean, finally free to chart his own course, to forge a future beholden to no one but himself. 2 years out, 2 years. 2 years since I'd left Earth in my little FTL craft. 2 years of silence and stars. My cargo, mostly tech and some refined minerals I'd mined from desolate asteroids, had seen me through, keeping my fuel tanks topped off and my systems purring. The void between galactic arms was vast, lonely, and exactly what I needed. No expectations, no military echoes, just the hum of my ship and the endless, inky black. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of solitude, I docked at the BOR trading hub in the Tillis system. It was remote, tucked away on the fringes of the Orion Arm, a beacon in the vast emptiness. As I stepped out of my ship, the air thick with the scent of alien spices and machine oil, I felt a jolt of something new. Not fear, but awe. Aliens. So many different kinds. Beings with multiple limbs, shimmering scales, or skin that changed color with their mood. They bustled past me, their voices a cacophony of chirps, growls, and whistles. My universal translator, a piece of tech I'd traded for on my journey, seamlessly processed the chatter, turning it into comprehensible words. It was a sight to behold, a vibrant tapestry of life beyond anything I'd ever imagined on Earth. I spent a few hours just observing, soaking it all in. I traded some of my rare minerals for credits, got a feel for the market, and just breathed. This was it. This was the freedom I'd craved. Then I saw him, a blue-green bipedal, standing alone near cargo bay, his four arms hanging low. He looked utterly dejected, a stark contrast to the lively buzz of the station. Something about his slumped posture, the way he seemed to shrink into himself, tugged at something inside me. I'd spent 2 years running from connection, but this felt different. Like looking at a reflection of a loneliness I knew too well, even if my reasons were my own. I walked over, my footsteps echoing a little in the quieter part of the bay. "Hey," I started, my voice a bit rusty from lack of use. "You okay?" He slowly looked up, his large, dark eyes holding a deep sadness. He had a gentle face, despite his size. "No," he said, his voice a low rumble, surprisingly soft. The translator made his words clear, though tinged with sorrow. "I'm not okay. What's wrong?" I asked, genuinely curious. I leaned against a nearby crate, trying to seem approachable, not threatening. He shifted his weight, his lower 2 arms twitching slightly. "My family," he began, his voice cracking. "They are gone. Pirates. They attacked our ship. Took everything. Took them." My gut twisted. Pirates. A grim reality of this wild, untamed galaxy. I thought of my own family, safe on Earth, a life I'd chosen to leave, but one they were still able to live. This alien, Gar, had no such luxury. His family was simply gone. "I'm so sorry, Gar," I said, the words feeling inadequate but heartfelt. That's terrible." He nodded slowly, tears welling in his large eyes, making them shimmer like polished stone. "I miss them so much. I feel empty." He looked at me, a stranger in this alien hub, and I saw a desperate need for understanding in his gaze. And in that moment, for the first time in a long time, I felt a connection. Not a military order, not a family expectation, but a simple, human, or in this case, alien, bond forged in shared sorrow. "What's your name?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Ethan," I replied. "It's Ethan." A shared meal and a new path, Gar and I found a quiet corner in the trading hub's food court. Or what passed for one. The air still hummed with alien chatter and strange scents. I managed to find a vendor selling something that looked like nutrient paste, which, while not exactly gourmet, was safe for human consumption. Gar, being a Kitara, opted for a bowl of what looked like glowing, wriggling worms. He seemed to enjoy them. I try not to stare. "So what was life like before the pirates?" I asked, spooning my bland paste. Gar swallowed a particularly lively worm. "It was good. Simple. My family, we were traders. We moved a lot. Saw many stars." A sad smile touched his lips. "My mother, she always said the galaxy is big, Gar. Don't be afraid to see it all." "She sounds like a wise woman," I offered, thinking of my own family back on Earth, who'd always pushed me towards a different kind of big. He nodded, his 4 arms resting on the table. "She was. And my father, he taught me to fix anything. Ships, droids, broken hearts." He chuckled, a low, rumbling sound that was surprisingly warm. He was not good at the last one, though. I found myself smiling, a genuine smile that reached my eyes. It had been a long time since I'd truly felt lighthearted. Yeah, some things are harder to fix than others. We talked for a while longer about the strange customs of different species, the best places to get good deals, and the silly things we'd seen on our travels. Gar even told me a funny story about trying to order food on a planet where everything communicated through interpretive dance. We laughed, and for a bit, the heavy sadness around him seemed to lift. As we finished our meals, my paste almost gone, Gar's bowl now empty of its glowing inhabitants, an idea, a crazy, exhilarating idea began to form in my mind. He was alone. I was alone. We both wanted something more. Gar, I began, my voice a little hesitant but firm. You said you miss your family, and you miss seeing the galaxy. He looked at me, his sad eyes curious. Yes, very much. I'm going to travel, I said, leaning forward, into the uncharted parts. I want to build things, see new worlds, make a future that isn't tied to anything old. A completely new beginning. I gestured vaguely around the bustling hub. This sector, it's new to me, but you know a lot about it, don't you? The cultures, the places, the safe spots, and the dangerous ones. Gar's eyes widened a little. Yes, I do. My family, we traded everywhere. So, I took a deep breath. What if you came with me? You could help me navigate all this, tell me about everything. And we could do something good out there. Build something new. Something that's ours, not something from the past. I looked him straight in the eyes. No sakres, Gar. Just us in the open galaxy. He stared at me, his forearms slowly clenching, then relaxing. A mix of surprise, hope, and something else. Fear, maybe, flickered across his face. The laughter from earlier had faded, replaced by a quiet intensity. The silence stretched, thick with unspoken possibilities. Gar's large, sad eyes blinked at me, then widened even more. He slowly, almost hesitantly, extended one of his lower arms. His hand, surprisingly soft, grasped mine. Yes, he whispered, a tremor in his voice. Yes, Ethan, I will come with you. A new beginning, that sounds good. Very good. A wave of relief, warm and unexpected, washed over me. I grinned, a wide, genuine grin that I hadn't felt in years. Avizuma, Ga, this is going to be wild. Fun. Totally uncharted. He actually chuckled, a deeper, happier rumble this time. And I can tell you all the best jokes from the Grungle system. They are very silly. I'm looking forward to them. I laughed. Seriously, this is great. Having someone who actually knows this part of the galaxy is a huge plus. Already feeling lighter, the loneliness of the past 2 years fading with his presence. Okay, so first things first. We need a destination. Somewhere far, really far from all this. A place where we can truly start fresh. Do you know of any systems like that? Like way out in the void, maybe with breathable air and some gas giants for fuel. Gar's brow furrowed in thought, his blue-green skin rippling slightly. He tilted his head, his gaze distant, as if scanning an internal star map. A system. Far. No other species, breathable air, gas giants. He hummed for a moment, then his eyes brightened. Yes, I saw one. A long time ago, when my family traveled for a special trade. It's very remote. Few travelers ever go there. Tell me, I urged, leaning closer. It is nearly in the outer part of the arm void between galactic arms. About 2 weeks' travel, FTL, from this station, he explained, pointing a finger vaguely towards the vastness outside the hub. It has a few rocky planets, and yes, some very big gas giants. And the air was very nice. Green even in some places. My eyes practically lit up. 2 weeks, FTL. That was a serious journey. Remote. Outer arm void. Perfect. This was it. That's it. I practically shouted, earning a few curious glances from passing aliens. That's exactly what we need. Let's go, Gar. We'll buy our supplies, stock up on everything we need. This is going to be a long trip, but it'll be worth it. A real new beginning. Gar's face was beaming now, a genuine, wide smile showing his slightly pointed teeth. A new beginning, he echoed, his voice filled with a hopeful excitement that mirrored my own. To the outer arm void, the workshop aboard the hum of the FTL drive was a comforting lullaby as we sped through the inky blackness. Gar, bless his multi-limbed heart, had fallen asleep curled up on a makeshift bed in the cargo hold, his 4 arms tucked in. Me? I was buzzing with anticipation. Our new planet. A blank slate. I decided to get a head start. I pulled open one of my many unmarked crates, the ones filled with my personal projects. The gleam of polished metal and complex circuitry was like candy to my eyes. My fingers itched to work. I started assembling a survey drone, its delicate manipulators designed for geological sampling. Then a larger, more robust security bot, its optical sensors gleaming. I worked with a quiet intensity, the familiar movements of assembly, a soothing rhythm. Suddenly, a loud gasp ripped through the quiet of the cargo hold. What in the by the stars? I looked up to see Gar, wide awake, his mouth hanging open, his four eyes practically bugging out of his head. He was staring at the half-assembled drone in my hands like it was a mythical beast. "Ethan, what are these things?" he practically shrieked, scrambling over, his long neck craning for a better look. "Where did you get this tech? This is incredible. The joints, the sensory arrays, the power core. These would fetch a fortune in the market. A fortune." He was practically vibrating with excitement. I chuckled, a genuine laugh bubbling up from my chest. It was nice to see him so utterly flabbergasted. "Oh, these." I held up a partially assembled drone. "Just some old things I brought from home." Gestaret, utterly bewildert. "Old things?" "Ethan, I have never seen tech like this. This is cutting edge. Superior. My family traded in tech for generations, and we never saw anything like this." "Well," I said, leaning back on my heels, a hint of pride in my voice. "It might seem that way out here, but honestly, this stuff is actually a couple of years old. I left Earth, my home planet, 2 years ago. For all I know, they've released even newer, flashier models since then. It looked like I just told him the stars were made of cheese. 2 years old? And your home planet has newer models? Are you telling me your people just make this kind of stuff every few cycles?" "Pretty much," I grinned. "Earth's good at a lot of things, but we're especially good at making tech. We like our gadgets, and our robots, and our cybersecurity. We're a bit obsessed with making things smarter, faster, and more efficient." He shook his head, one of his lower arms rubbing his chin. "My mind, it is boggled. So, you're saying your planet, Earth, just churns out these amazing machines like a food stall makes noodles." "Something like that," I agreed. "Though, I promise, these robots won't get soggy if you leave them out too long. They're built for exploration, surveying, and maybe keeping grumpy space chickens away from our future settlement." Gar's eyes widened again. "Grumpy space chickens. You were serious about them." "Deadly serious," I confirmed, winking. "But with these guys, we'll be ready for anything. Welcome to the future, Gar. Or, well, my slightly outdated but still awesome future." He just kept staring at the drone, then at me, a slow, disbelieving smile spreading across his blue-green face. "This journey, it is going to be even more amazing than I thought." Our new home weeks blurred into a dizzying streak of stars. The hum of the FTL drive became the new normal, punctuated by Gar's surprisingly detailed, and occasionally bizarre, stories about the various corners of the galaxy. I even found myself laughing at a few of his grungle jokes, though I'll never admit it out loud. Then, finally, the familiar warping of space smoothed out, and a new system bloomed before us. I gripped the controls, my breath catching in my throat. "Gar, look at that," I whispered, utterly mesmerized. Before us lay a dwarf sun, a perfect, golden twin to Earth's own, casting a warm glow over its celestial children. 5 planets, each a unique masterpiece, orbited in serene harmony. My scanners immediately whirred to life, painting a holographic picture of our new domain. Okay, let's see here," I muttered, my fingers flying across the console. Yes. One habitable planet, right in the sweet spot, and another one barely. Needs some work, but mildly terraformable. And 3 big gas giants loaded with, oh wow, rare gases, potential metals. My mind raced, a whirlwind of possibilities. The extraction, the economic boom this could bring. The sheer joy of discovery, of building something from scratch. I couldn't stop the wide, goofy grin that spread across my face. This was it. This was the dream taking shape. "Ethan, it's beautiful," Gar exclaimed, his 4 arms pressed against the viewport, his eyes wide and shining with a similar wonder. He was smiling too, a genuine, joyful expression that transformed his usually melancholic face. "So much space, so much nothing, which means so much something we can make." "Exactly." I cheered, punching the air. Now, for the main event. I guided the ship towards the 3rd planet, our prime candidate for a base. As we hovered in the atmosphere, My newly assembled drones zipped out like eager metallic bees, their sensors casting a wide net over the lush, green landscape. All right, little buddies, find us a cozy spot. I mumbled to the drones as much to myself as to them. After a few tense minutes of waiting, a promising signal pinged on my console. Got something. A mountain ridge, a small opening, looks like a large cave system inside. My eyes narrowed, already picturing the possibilities. Hidden. Secure. This could be perfect. Gar leaned over, peering at the scan results. A cave? Like a really big cave? With maybe secret passages? Hopefully not too many secret passages. I don't want to get lost just trying to get to the comms array. I mused, a flicker of my usual caution returning. But yes, hidden is good. Very good. Because as much as I love the idea of a completely new beginning, I'm also keenly aware that the galaxy isn't all sunshine and space chickens. I looked at Gar, my smile fading just a touch. This place is remote, but remote means unexplored. And unexplored means you never know who or what might stumble by. Pirates, rival corporations, or even just curious species who don't appreciate us setting up shop. It's better to be careful, really careful. We need to be invisible, at least until we're ready for company. Gar nodded, his earlier exuberance tempered by a shared understanding. Invisible is good. My family always said the quiet mouse eats the best cheese. Though I think they were talking about actual mice. Sounds like sound advice to me. I agreed, already plotting. First step, make sure no one knows we're here. Second step, build something awesome. Third step, rule the galaxy but quietly. Setting up shop, the landing inside the massive cave system was smooth, thanks to my finely tuned thrusters and the surprisingly stable ground of the cavern floor. The silence, after weeks of FTL hum, was deafening, broken only by the whirring of my trusty drones and bots. All right, everyone fan out, I announced to my metallic army, feeling a ridiculous surge of paternal pride. My scout drones zipped off, their sensors painting a detailed 3D map of our new subterranean fortress. The security bots, hulking but agile, deployed to the cave entrances, their optical sensors sweeping for anything remotely suspicious. My smaller, more specialized bots, the ones with delicate manipulators and built-in chemical analyzers, got to work immediately, sampling the atmosphere for viral and bacterial loads. No unexpected alien flu for us. Thank you very much. Gar, who had been gaping at the sheer number of robots pouring out of the ship, finally found his voice. Ethan, this is like an army. A very quiet, very efficient army of little metal helpers. Precisely. I grinned, watching a dozen construction bots begin unloading modular panel for the base. Think of them as our highly specialized, non-complaining workforce. The ones assembling the modular base don't even need coffee breaks. No coffee breaks? That's sad for them. Gar mused, then perked up. But good for us. More building. We spent the next few hours in a flurry of activity. The atmospheric scans came back all green. No harmful viruses or bacteria, Gar. I announced, relief washing over me. Looks like we won't be growing a third, just yet. My species has 4 eyes already. Gar countered deadpan, then chuckled. But good to know my existing eyes are safe. What about the grumpy space chickens? Any lurking? Scanning for those now? I replied, suppressing a laugh. But seriously, all clear on the biological front. Which means we can breathe easy and focus on making this place home. Gar was surprisingly adept at handling the larger modular components, his 4 arms making quick work of things that would have taken me twice as long. We worked side by side, setting up the command center, snapping panels into place, connecting conduits, and wrestling with stubborn power cables. This plug, it doesn't seem to want to go into that hole. Gar grumbled at one point, wrestling with a particularly thick cable. Just wiggle a bit, and maybe a gentle curse word, I advised, wiping sweat from my brow. Works every time. A gentle curse word, Gar repeated, then tried a string of Kithera expletives that sounded suspiciously like a frustrated series of squeaks and chirps. The cable finally slid into place with a satisfying click. It works. You humans are very clever with your magical words. The days blurred into a week of focused, intense work. We ate quick, often pre-packaged meals, powered by caffeine, for me, and whatever strange, glowing fungus Gar found edible. Sleep was a luxury, but with every panel connected, every system brought online, the cavern transformed from a cold, dark void into a secure, functional home. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, but was only 7 days, we stood back, exhausted but triumphant. The modular base, small but perfectly formed, sat nestled within the cave. Lights hummed, consoles glowed, and the subtle thrum of active defenses filled the air. "It's done," I breathed, looking around at our newly established haven. "We did it, Gar. All systems green. All clear. Ready for anything." Gar spread his forearms wide, a look of pure joy on his face. "It is magnificent, Ethan. Our own secure, hidden base." I just laughed, shaking my head. Let's just enjoy the fact that we have a roof over our heads that isn't made of starship hull. A new voice in the cave with the base secured and all systems humming. A comfortable silence settled over our new home. Gar was still buzzing with excitement, poking at various consoles and marveling at the seamless construction of the modular walls. I, however, was already looking ahead. "All right, Gar," I said, rubbing my hands together. "Base is good, but now for the fun stuff. My plan is to start with a proper machine and construction shop. Our bots can build the bigger things, but they'll need a dedicated space, tools, and raw materials. We'll refine local ores, fabricate parts. It'll be a whole production line." Gar's eyes gleamed. "A shop, like a giant workshop for metal people. This is going to be amazing." "It is," I agreed, a mischievous glint in my eye. "But before we get to the blueprints for that, I want to show you something. Go ahead and press that button there." I pointed to a small, unassuming circular pad on my main console, separate from all the other blinking lights. Gar looked confused, his brow furrowing. "This button? What does it do? Does it make more grumpy space chickens appear?" "Just press it," I urged, trying to keep a straight face. He shrugged, a forearm gesture of mild exasperation, and tapped the button. A soft, ethereal hum filled the command center. Then, from the center of the console, a brilliant 3D hologram shimmered into existence. It coalesced into the form of a woman, rendered in exquisite detail, her expression serene and intelligent. Before Gar could even process what he was seeing, she spoke. "Hello, Master Ethan." A calm, melodic voice resonated through the cavern. "How are you, sir? What can I help you with today?" "Guy Yelpit." He literally yelped. His eyes went wide as dinner plates, and he jumped backward, stumbling over a power conduit and nearly tripping over his own 4 feet. He landed in a heap, staring at the hologram with a mix of awe and sheer terror. "By the void, by the stars," he gasped, scrambling back up, pointing a trembling arm at the shimmering projection. Is that what I think it is, Ethan? Oh my God, I haven't seen one. Not a real one. I only ever watched them in the news, on the holo screen." I couldn't help but laugh, a deep belly laugh that echoed off the cave walls. Gar's reaction was priceless. "Easy, Gar, easy." I chuckled, walking over to pat him on one of his shoulders. "Don't worry, she's friendly. Her name's Aurora. She's my machine helper, program, and general genius assistant. I designed her myself for everything I need help with." Aurora's holographic form tilted her head slightly, her expression unreadable but clearly acknowledging Gar. "It is a pleasure to meet you, Gar. Master Ethan has spoken highly of your assistance." Gar gulped, still staring. She talked to me. She knows my name. This is wild. Your home planet, Ethan, it really does make magic, doesn't it?" "It's not magic, Gar, just really advanced programming," I explained, though I knew it might as well be magic to him. "Aurora helps me with calculations, research, system monitoring, managing the bots. Basically, she's got my back. And now, she's got our backs." My mind is still boggled, Gar admitted, though a slow, awestruck smile was starting to spread across his face. "Oi, we have an AI in our cave. This is better than grumpy space chickens." A matter of secrecy, Gar's initial awe at Aurora quickly morphed into a profound concern. He still stared at the shimmering hologram, but now his brow was furrowed with worry. "Ethan, this is a problem," he said, his voice dropping to a serious, almost hushed tone. You don't understand. In this sector of space, AI is incredibly rare. Dangerous, even. Only a few megacorporations and the really big governments are even allowed to have them. And none of them are as advanced as Aurora. He gestured wildly at the hologram. If anyone finds out we have this, they will come for us. They will attack our base, Ethan. They will want this tech. We must be very careful. Super careful. His four arms wrung together nervously. I nodded, the gravity of his words sinking in. He was right. My Earth-centric view of advanced AI, where it was commonplace and regulated, didn't apply out here in the wild fringes of the galaxy. You're right, Gar. That's a huge risk. My bad for not thinking it through. It's okay, you didn't know, Gar said, though his worry was still palpable. But now we know. We need to be able to defend ourselves here to survive. This is high-tech stuff, even for this sector. But don't worry, he added, a spark of determination in his eyes. We will defend ourselves in no time. We just need to build and ready our base. Exactly, I affirmed, feeling a renewed surge of purpose. Okay, so priority 1, defense. Aurora, I addressed the AI, who blinked silently at my command. Facilitate the construction of a small bots factory. Focus on automation and resource efficiency. We'll need that to churn out more defensive units. Acknowledged, Master Ethan, Aurora replied, her voice calm and reassuring. Commencing preliminary design schematics for optimal resource allocation and production speed. Perfect, I said, turning back to Gar. And speaking of resources, I scanned earlier. There are some serious, rare mineral deposits about 5 kilometers from here, deeper in the cavern system. We'll set up some mineral extracting bots to start pulling those in. That'll be our raw material for everything. Rare minerals. More good news, Gar exclaimed, some of his usual cheer returning. This place is full of good things. And danger, like a grumpy space chicken with shiny teeth. I chuckled. Pretty much. But we'll be ready for it. Speaking of ready, we're going to need more than just robots for this operation. Next week, we're going to make a trip back to the BOR station. Gar looked at me, surprised. Back? Why? To buy some more supplies, of course. But also, I paused, looking around our well-equipped but empty base. We need people. We need to find interesting people. We need a pilot, Gar. And we definitely need engineers. And I grinned. We're going to need farmers if we want to eat something that isn't nutrient-paced or glowing worms for the rest of our lives. Gar's face lit up. People. And farmers. Maybe they know how to grow crunchy food that isn't worms. Recruitment drive. BOR Station, the journey back to the BOR trading hub felt different this time. Before, it had been an escape. Now it was a mission. With Aurora humming away back at the base, coordinating the new bot factory and mineral extraction, I felt a sense of purpose I hadn't known since before the war. Gar, too, seemed to walk with a lighter step, the hope of a new future chasing away some of the shadows. Okay, Gar, I said as we stepped off the ramp of my ship, the familiar cacophony of alien voices and strange scents washing over us. Remember the plan. We need a pilot, someone who knows their way around this part of space. Engineers, because even my bots break down sometimes. And farmers, because I'm tired of nutrient paste, and I bet you are too. Definitely tired of nutrient paste, Gar agreed, wrinkling one of his noses. And I have seen some very interesting vegetables grown by the Galaxian people, like squishy purple ones that sing. Singing vegetables. Sounds appetizing. I deadpan, try not to think about it too much. All right, let's split up. You know this place better than me. Keep an eye out for anyone who looks skilled, lonely, or just plain bored. I'll check the hiring boards and maybe discreetly ask around at the tech stalls. We spent the next few hours sifting through the station's bustling population. I found a few promising leads on the job boards, mostly desperate-looking pilots with questionable flight records and engineers who seemed more interested in selling dodgy modifications than honest work. This is harder than I thought. I grumbled to Gar when we met up later at a bustling vendor stall selling something that smelled vaguely like burnt sugar. Indeed, Gar sighed, gesturing to a trio of particularly shifty-looking individuals slinking past. Every pilot I asked seemed to have an unusual number of missing fingers, and the engineers kept trying to sell me devices that promised to turn my ship into a super fast, invisible, and mildly flammable vehicle. Just then, a commotion erupted near the main hangar bay. A scrawny, green-skinned alien with 4 spindly legs and a single, enormous I was shouting furiously at a much larger, furry creature. "You scammed me, you walking hairball. My navigation systems are fried." "Fried, I tell you," the small alien shrieked, waving a damaged datapad. The furry creature merely grunted, folding its multiple arms across its chest. My eyes narrowed. "Navigation systems, huh? Sounds like an engineer problem." "And a rather loud one," Gar muttered, wincing. "He's called a Drell, Ethan. Very smart, but very vocal." I watched as the Drell, still fuming, suddenly took out a small, intricate tool from his belt and, with surprising speed, began to dismantle the data pad right there on the crowded concourse. His single eye darted over the components, a flicker of intense concentration replacing his anger. He was fast, precise, and utterly absorbed. "He's good," I murmured, "or he's just really mad at that data pad." "Definitely good," Gar confirmed. "Drells have very quick brains for fixing things." Then, a new voice cut through the hubbub. "Lost your way, little worm? I need working parts." The IG there simply chuckled a low, guttural sound. "And I need a challenge." "Noisy is fine," I said, a plan already forming in my mind. "It means they're not afraid to make their presence known. Let's see if we can turn that into a positive."